out on the trail, things don't always go as planned. Whether it's rivers that are a little bit deeper than you expected, bog holes that are a little bit more sinister than you originally anticipated.
The 80 is on the winch again. You can see that. That's what we're dealing with.
Or you were just flat out trying to push your vehicle and ended up stuck. Having the right gear can be the difference between moving forward on the trail or being stranded, waiting on a tow truck, or waiting on a good buddy to come and pull you out. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are in my own garage, which is great. We just moved into a new house here in Texas, and it's hot right now, so it's pretty brutal. But we're gonna push on with a new video I've been wanting to film, kind of based off some feedback and some questions. It's about recovery gear and what recovery gear I take, and you know, what I think is essential, and you know, where you should start with it. So recovery gear, for me, I've just kind of collected more and more over time as my needs have changed and as I've grown as an off-roader. So first things first, we'll talk about the Maxtrax. So these are the Maxtrax Extremes in the OD green color. And this is probably one of the first pieces of recovery gear I ever got. You probably see these things pretty much everywhere. Every person, like every influencer, YouTuber, whatever, carries a set of these. And there's a time and place for these. They are not going to save you from every scenario, that's for sure. They may give you a little bit of false confidence. There are a lot of things that I would not try to do if this was my only piece of recovery gear. So these are great for situations like snow, certain scenarios in mud, sand. They're great for building tracks up. If you find yourself with tires lifting and you need to build the track up a little bit, instead of just chasing around boulders to throw onto the trail to build it up a little bit, these are great for that. Honestly, the main reason I use these nowadays is mostly for track building or leveling out my vehicle. Now, if you're a person that doesn't have a lot, at the very least, I would say get a set of these, because these you can use pretty universally. You can use them as a shovel for all the things I've already listed, and they will help sometimes get your vehicle unstuck, as long as you're not really stuck, which is kind of where the downfall of these is. But these are great for what they are. If you have nothing else, get yourself a set of traction boards. They can get you out of a pinch, but they're not going to get you out of everything. So traction boards, great piece of kit. Love them. I carry them with me now every time, mainly just because I have them. I don't use these as much anymore, but I got them, might as well take them. The tow rope I've used, this is another one of the earlier pieces of recovery gear that I purchased. I know they always say don't buy stuff off Amazon, but this is what my budget at the time could afford, and I haven't found a reason to replace it since. So this is just a Rhino USA that I got off Amazon. Tow strap, static rope. Static meaning no flex in the rope when it's under tension. And this, I haven't really used it to tow people with it yet. I've more so used it as a tree saver to hook my winch up to, which they make dedicated tree savers that are a little bit shorter, and they kind of are just designed for exactly that, to be an anchor point on a tree. But this has worked fine for me so far, and again, like I said, I just haven't really found a need to change it. So I would like to add a dedicated tree saver to my gear, but it's just not been a priority for me because this has worked fine. This is a pretty long one. I don't know exactly how long, probably 20 feet or so if I had to guess, maybe 15. But yeah, I mean, I definitely would recommend getting a quality brand, a reputable brand, if you have the budget to. There's going to be a point where I'll move on and upgrade to something that's probably a little bit better quality, better brand, but this works, so I'm using it right now. Beyond the tow strap, the next thing that I purchased was actually my Warn winch, which is up front. I went with Warn just because they were a well-known brand, and people seem to say that they were really reliable. They didn't have as much issues as some of the other brands out there. There's a lot of them, a lot of brands, a lot of cheaper options. But my Warn winch, I didn't want my winch to fail on me when I really needed it. And so I went with Warren, and I have never looked back. I really like the winch. It's done everything I've asked it to. It's never failed me. The remote for it, I can use just the remote, or I can plug in the cord and run the cord to the control box in the winch. So it's great. I've loved the winch, and it's always worked for me when I needed it. It's got a synthetic line in it as well. It's a Warren Evo 12, Evo 12S. And yeah, it's been solid. It's been great. Couldn't recommend the Warren winch enough. The winch was the one thing that gave me the most confidence to really push this vehicle and to really take on tougher trails, because used to before the winch I would feel a lot less confident about going on tougher trails, and I would never really push it that hard. But the second I got the winch, it was just like I was confident. You know, if I needed to, I had that tool up there to get me out, and that's something I would recommend. You know, start with Maxtrax, maybe a Kinetic Rope if you're going with buddies, but try to get a winch on there as soon as you can in a winch bumper. If you are going to be using a winch, you're going to need a couple things. So I typically hook into my tree saver. If I'm winching to an anchor point like a tree or something like that, I'll typically just hook right into the tree saver, or in my case, the tow rope, to cut out any extra need for a shackle or soft shackle or anything like that, to cut out the extra failure points. And I will use a winch blanket. Now, winch blankets, for some reason, don't seem to be used as much in the United States. They seem to be pretty common in Australia. So I decided it was a good idea. If the Australians are using it, then I probably should be too. And you'll see the effects of these when winch ropes start snapping. So these are essentially meant to be put on your winch line. I think commonly they put them over your attachment points. So like where my winch hook would meet up with the tow rope, you put it over the top of that. That way if something snaps, it promotes to it just falling straight to the ground, as opposed to a winch hook coming flying back at your vehicle. So I've been using this for a few years now in conjunction with my winch. Never had a winch line snap on me yet, so we'll see, but it takes a couple extra seconds to throw this on there, and just adds that extra bit of protection. So I think it's a good thing to use. And this was another Amazon purchase. I think it was 20, 30 bucks. I don't see a real need to spend a lot of money on this. All it is just sitting on your winch line, and it's an extra weight. So yeah, this was just an all-top 4x4 accessories winch blanket. Got it off Amazon. I'll try and put a link to this stuff down below so you guys can check it out if you want to. But yeah, so covered the Maxtrax, we covered the tow rope, the winch blanket. Let's get into soft shackles and your D-ring style shackles. So I prefer soft shackles. This is a Treaty Oak off-road that I got from CB Adventure Supply. And this is a 3/8 inch soft shackle. Where I can, I use these over the D-rings, just because instead of having another piece of metal in your recovery, just this synthetic line. And any less metal that you have in the recovery process, the better. Any less metal that could, in any way that you can prevent metal from flying at you or flying at somebody else during a recovery, I think that's probably a win. So using, if there's for some reason a reason where you can't just hook straight into your tow rope, or you're hooking into the back of somebody else's rig to winch, and you can use a synthetic line, or soft shackle, definitely advised to do that. Now, the issue and the reason I say carry your classic D-ring shackle and your soft shackle is because there's sometimes a lot of people's bumpers aren't set up for soft shackles. So recovery points have to actually be, some recovery points have a hard edge on them. And if you hook this into a recovery point that has a hard edge, it can cut this synthetic material. So in those cases, you need to use your normal D-ring style shackle. But yeah, I carry both just to have them, but when I can, I use the soft shackle. Another thing that I've added that I've only used a handful of times is my Factor 55 pulley. So this is designed to use in conjunction with your winch. What you can do to create more pull up front is run your winch line to a tree, run it through this pulley system, and then back to your bumper. So this is, again, you run the winch line through your pulley, soft shackle to your tree saver or your anchor point. Oops. So this is your anchor. Winch line running through your pulley, and you get that that double line pull. So this is a great option. It's a great little piece of gear to take with you if you have the funds to buy one. I've also used it before to change the angle of a pull or to pull somebody off of a bank. So if somebody's, like say somebody's driver's side of their vehicle is up against a bank, you can run a pulley to a tree and then winch line to the side of the bumper, and you can actually pull that person off of the bank. If you guys would like to see like some kind of demonstrations of this stuff, let me know. There's plenty of videos out there that show how to use this stuff. I could certainly do one day if you guys have a lot of interest in it. But I'll try to put in as many clips using this stuff as I can. But yeah, this is just what I take. So that's that. That's pretty much all that stuff. Another piece of kit that I carry with me is a kinetic rope. So kinetic rope is designed to have a bit of flex in it. If somebody's stuck, you can hook up the kinetic rope to them and then to your vehicle, and you can gradually pull them out of whatever it is they're stuck in. So you kind of start out slow and you work your way up. As long as they're moving a little bit, you can typically just use this instead of running a winch. So sometimes this is really handy, especially if the person that you're pulling out doesn't have a winch. Hook this up to their front bumper, hook it up to the tow hitch of another vehicle, and you can yank them out of whatever it is they're stuck in. Now, where people go wrong with these is they go right out of the gate, balls to the wall, and the person's so stuck they're just not going anywhere. And if they just start out going full bore with it, as fast as they can go, like that's where bumpers can start getting ripped off and issues and dangerous things can start happening. So when you're using a kinetic rope, start out easy, kind of feel it out, make sure that they're actually gonna move before you just go full bore with it and try to give it all the beans and yank them out. That's the downfall of that versus a winch. A winch is much more controlled, much slower, whereas that you kind of got to go all out with it, in my experience. That is a Maxtrax kinetic rope. Yeah, there's specific ratings for your weight of vehicle, so do some research before you pull the trigger on one. Just make sure you get the right kinetic rope that's suited to your vehicle, and then have happy days from there. Another bit of gear that I carry is a Factor 55 Hitchlink. This is the 2.0. Just goes, it's a recovery point that just fits right into your hitch receiver. This is great. I've used this a ton of times. Not only does it give you a center point in your vehicle to pull from, but also you can move this to other people's vehicles who may not have a recovery point in the rear end, and give them a recovery point to recover them from, which I've used it a lot for both cases. One, when I'm pulling, again, to get that center point in my vehicle, and two, most of the time I've used it, I've thrown it on other people's vehicles because I have multiple recovery points on my rear end, on the rear end of my bumper. Being able to just have this little versatile thing, you can take off, throw it on other people's vehicles, and use it to get them out is great. So I definitely recommend one of these, especially when you're starting out. Most vehicles don't typically come with recovery points in the rear, so cheap, not cheap, but relatively cheap tow point that you can just add to any vehicle that you're in. I think it's a great buy and something I definitely recommend. Quick break from today's video, guys. I wanted to show you something I'm really excited about. It is a new 12 volt fridge. So this is an ICECO fridge. They reached out to me not too long ago and wanted to collaborate with me on a couple videos and offered up a partnership, and it was extremely easy for me to say yes to them. Big fan of 12 volt fridges in your overland rig, off-road rig, whatever you want to call it. I think it just changes the way that you live at camp with your vehicle, makes camping so much more convenient. All the great things. Nothing, you know, nothing negative about running a 12 volt fridge in your car, in my opinion. When ICECO reached out, you know, I've certainly heard of ICECO before. There's a pretty loyal customer base when it comes to ICECO and the off-road community. And it's just really easy for me to support them, especially when they're reaching out to somebody like myself with a pretty small viewer count. So when it came to choosing the fridge, I opted for the ICECO VL Pro S60, which is about a 63.4 quart cooler or fridge, and it's a single zone. One of the big things that stood out to me with this fridge was the fact that the lid here, you can open it from any direction, plus you can just take the whole lid off altogether, which is a feature I haven't used myself before. And there's so many times being on a fridge slide where I would like the ability to access it from whichever way I want, whichever way I approach the vehicle. So I think that's gonna be a really cool feature. Plus, you know, it's got all the same features I'm used to. It's got a Bluetooth app, which I'm really excited to dig into. It's got a battery monitor in the front, kind of the normal stuff that I'm used to. It's got USB ports on the front. It's got a insert for a 12 volt plug on the front and back, which is cool. I don't have to run a cord, you know, from the front all the way to the back to my power system. So some of the details on this fridge, it comes with the ICECO compressor, and it has a 5-year warranty on it, which is really great. I know a lot of you probably a lot of you probably take that into consideration when you guys are buying a 12 volt fridge. Like, obviously, if you're spending a lot of money on something, you want it to last. So as far as the compressor goes, 5-year warranty, you know you're covered that far. Not that I think you'd have a problem, you know, based on some of the opinions that I've heard from other people that run ICECO products. Another cool thing that ICECO did for me and for you guys watching is they gave me a discount code. So if you guys are interested in an ICECO fridge, you know, any fridge that they have to offer, if you guys use the code Justin4WheelDrive, or you can check the link down in the description, you can get yourself 12% off and save you guys a little bit of cash on an ICECO fridge. So definitely be sure to check that out. All right, enough of me talking about the ICECO fridge. It's time to get this puppy installed. So I already got my old fridge out of here, and I cleaned up my fridge slide here because it was a little grimy from some of my previous trips. So, I mean, it's gonna be pretty much as simple as just dropping it down here and strapping it down. I do have to swap out my old fridge plug that's wired up to my Red Arc system, but I'll show you what I did. So a lot of the time what they'll do is they'll send you this little 12 volt like cigarette plug, and these kind of suck. Not ICECO specific problem, just all of these just tend to kind of suck and, you know, and come unplugged and whatnot. So what I do is I cut them off, and then I use a little mini Anderson power pole. Those are little contacts on there. I already put the contacts on, and I'll put a power pole on here, and that's what I use to plug into my existing Red Arc system. Those are just a lot more secure. They don't typically come undone. So that's just something that you could do for your own personal rig. But yeah, I'm gonna get the old plug out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get this one plugged in, get the wire stowed so I can plug it right in my fridge. All right, so don't judge me too hard for my wiring back here. I'm not an electrician. This was very much DIY. So, but yeah, what I need to do, get that locked in. So this is my old fridge cord, and I have it kind of run up through here. And I just need to break this zip tie loose. Nice and easy, and I'll zip tie that back here in a minute. And I'm gonna go ahead and go into my existing. So I have my fridge down here on this bottom one. So I'll go ahead and take that out. Leave that loose for now. See, I have it on a power pole, so I'm gonna go ahead and swap these cables over. I'm gonna run this, following the same path. Sorry, it's gonna be a lot of legs here. Just plug that new one into the existing spot where my fridge was. I'm gonna do a zip tie up here. Free feet videos. Let's go for a lot nowadays. You're welcome. All right, so that's there. I'm just gonna run this kind of down the same little pathway. Now the rest of it, I'm gonna stow once I get the fridge in here, so I can make sure it clears with the fridge slide. Just get it centered, get it strapped down. All right, guys, that about does it for that install. All right, so as you can see, we got our little screen up here. It shows we can set our battery monitor to like high, medium, low. I'm gonna leave it at low just because I got my red arc system that's gonna let me know my battery's low, so I don't really need the extra alarm system here. But yeah, I'm gonna see. I got it set to go down to 34 right now. I just turned it on, so it's a hot day here in Texas. It's been really hot here lately. So we'll see how long that takes to crank down. I also have this thing empty, which fridges just don't typically run as efficiently when you have them empty. So I got something to fix that. I will never beg for a sponsorship, but ICECO, if you're out there, I could use one. Just think about all the people that I can reach with my 2,500 subs, ICECO. 2,500 people see this. It's a lot of beer. You never know. So I kind of got to figure out how I want to store stuff in here. So one thing that's different about the ICECO compared to my old fridge is these trays actually come out. So I'm gonna do that. Dump all my ICECOs in here. You can get 5 cans all the way across. It sits pretty flush. What was that, 12? Oh no, that's 15. 15 right there, just in that bottom. Fits perfectly. And I don't think I'm gonna have enough to fill this entire bottom compartment. All right, so that should help this thing cool down a little bit faster and stay cool without using as much power. But I'm just looking at my red arc here. It's consuming about 3.9 amps of power right now, as you can see. So the only thing I got, well, I got my light up here, so I'll turn my light off for a sec. As you can see, the fridge right now, it's pulling about 3.4 amps, 3.4 amps of power. I'm curious to see how much power this thing ends up consuming. Because with my old fridge and the heat that we've been experiencing around here, I mean, the past week it's been like in the hundreds every day. So I'm curious to see how much this draws compared to the other one, being that it's a bigger fridge. See if I can get a little more battery life while I'm not driving too far. Just kind of commuting around town and stuff. But yeah, we'll see. It's at 81 right now. So we'll see how long that takes to get down to temp. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it looks really good. All right, well, thanks guys. Don't forget, you guys can save 12% on your own ICECO fridge using the code Justin4WheelDrive. Appreciate you. Well, anyways, guys, it's gonna be a little bit shorter of a video today. Sorry I've been kind of off the map for a little bit, but we've been busy with life things. We moved to Texas a while back and bought a house, got a new job, and things have been a little bit hectic here for us, but I got some videos that should be coming out here pretty soon. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys have anything else you want to see going on with the cruiser, anything, I'm going to be putting out some more stuff. I got a video, I got some big maintenance I got to do in this thing to get ready for some more trips, so I'm going to shoot a video of that. But yeah, finally got a garage, got my own space to tinker, work on the cruiser and get some maintenance that I've been neglecting because I haven't had a space to do it for a while. So yeah, be sure to drop a like, drop a comment if you got any recovery gear that you may recommend to first timers or to even people that have been doing this for a little while, because we can all learn from each other. Thank you guys for the support, and we'll see you next time.